said 2 days ago, this being the first one for the second quarter of this century, also leading towards Viksit Bharat 2047. We are laying the path and giving a push to the economy to maintain the growth momentum, and for that growth momentum or sustained economic growth which we want to ensure, primarily we are looking at building the ecosystem with structural reforms which will go on. Reforms have been carried out. We are continuing to do the reform activities, so it will continue with an aim to make sure that we create enough environment for improving productivity and making sure employment is generated. Also, technology, 21st century, this century is completely driven by technology. So we will ensure that technology is brought in to benefit the common man, to make sure common man benefits in the sense of ease of doing living, or for his business to prosper, or for farmers for greater productivity, or better logistics, whatever. So technology for benefiting every common man. And above all, with all this, inclusive development. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and that is why you heard me bringing in schemes which have good allocations for bringing better health facilities, creating a cadre of people, not cadre in that sense, but a bulk of people who can come in as health workers, paramedics, and so on, and also making sure we are able to provide dignified opportunities for Divyangjan. Mental health has also received a lot of attention. So these are the side for Viksit Bharat and making sure Sabka Vikas hoega. But the idea is the advantage and the momentum that we gained since after COVID by increasing public capital expenditure will continue. We've announced that 12.2 lakh crores are coming through public expenditure this time. It is 4.4% of the GDP. I'd like you all to please notice that, which is the highest, at least in the last 10 years. It could even be highest if you were to take data earlier. No increment in capital expenditure, sustained fashion, has happened ever before. This one marking 4.4% of the GDP. Then what are the kind of things which will happen through it? You will have dedicated freight corridors. I've named Dankuni in the east, Surat in the west. Then I've also highlighted that 20 new national waterways, not national highways, national waterways are being planned. And again there, those are going to pass through some of the critical mineral areas. Orissa, where the mineral-rich state, you have the waterways taking it to the port. And the two ports have been identified, Paradip and Dhamra. Similarly, we are also making sure that the coastal cargo movements will be enabled through a cargo route, so that through the coastal area we are able to cut down on cost of movement of goods. City economic regions, developing them is a very big new measure that we are coming up with. And for that, an allocation of 5,000 crore per city economic region. Imagine the amount, 5,000 crores in 5 years. 1,000 crore per year per city is being given, and the emphasis is going to be largely on tier 2, tier 3 cities. And then talking of infrastructure further, with the capital expenditure coming with the big number, you're having also the high-speed rail corridors. 7 of them announced, and the destinations are clear, so that they become the bridge for all these economical robust centers. So those are for making sure that the infrastructure and the capital expenditure are getting tied up, and the country benefits from the ripple effects that these can bring in. The 7 strategic and frontier sectors in which we've highlighted that will increase productivity and also have new investments come in and give emphasis for India's own brand on those things is on the biopharma sector. I think that's going to be a big change in the way in which we are looking at giving capacity for those who are able to research, who are able to undertake research and development. So 10,000 crore initiative again over five years for domestic biologics and biosimilar production. This is a clear message and backed with enough substance that India's lead in the pharmaceutical sector should be kept intact, but at the same time bring in newer ways of helping the pharma sector, and also because it has an impact on human health. Semiconductor mission had two major announcements that will improve the India stack and also the IP related matters. Electronic components manufacturing scheme for 40,000 crores is a major encouragement for electronics to become self-sufficient. We have also announced establishing rare earth corridors so that India can face and be able to meet its own requirements with its materials. So once we identify and are able to explore these minerals and process them, make them available for us, our dependency on external sources for bringing in the rare earths will be lesser, and we've identified the states where we want to establish this rare earth corridors. They are going to be in Orissa, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So these are very important developments, and they are going to have multiple decadal impact on the Indian economy. Our dependence on magnets and rare earths will be brought down. 3 dedicated chemical parks, again for reducing our import dependence. High-tech tool rooms for research, that will be set up in 2 locations. Very important thing is about the construction equipment being imported. That could be for building tunnels or metros or high energy and also heavy duty equipments which we are relying on imports. We want to manufacture them in India, and that is why I said, how does it affect a common man? It affects because firefighters today have novel, new, big ticket and small, very small firefighting tools and weapons or equipment. We don't have them in this country. That's why if there is a fire accident in some very congested area, our equipments are not able to reach those points. Whereas there are equipments which today are produced abroad, which can navigate those small corridors and go save people's lives. Whether they or huge ones, all of which we want to make sure that we will have production in this country itself, whether they are tunnel boring or anything else. From small to big, we want to bring in those very impactful infrastructure into India. So we'll support domestic manufacturing. Then container manufacturing is another, which we'll support. I think I've gone in detail talking about the textile support in various forms. One very important announcement was made, Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative, which will make sure khadi, handloom, handicrafts will all be brought in, and one district, one product will all be brought in this initiative, and we'll be able to support rural artisans, rural workers, and handloom weavers in those areas. Legacy industrial corridors have got saturated. Manufacturing happening there is now very constricted because they are not able to bring in newer robotics and others. So we want to upgrade these legacy industrial clusters so that they become cost competitive and efficiency comes into these places. Even more important is the champion MSMEs, small and medium industries, entrepreneurs, MSMEs, who are going to be given all the supports, and 3-pronged approach is being taken up there. We are giving equity support, we are giving also liquidity support, above all professional support for them, so that MSMEs, the equity support is supported by a 10,000 crore SME fund, growth fund. Above all, we are also topping up the Self-Reliant India Fund with 2,000 crores. So MSMEs should not feel any dearth of resources for equity. Similarly, they shouldn't feel any difficulty for liquidity in their hands, because the TREADS platform will now be treated almost as a security backed up instrument with which they'll be able to discount and get their monies. For professional support, we're working with the Chartered Accountant and Cost Accountant Institutes so that they can create corporate mitras who can help these MSMEs in filing their returns, doing their accounts, and so on. Above all, for youth and training, there's so much. You've heard the speech, so I won't want to take your time on it. High-powered education to employment enterprise, standing committees being formed so that they can recommend measures for service sector as a core driver of Vikasit Bharat. Part B concentrated a lot on tax and related concessions that are being offered. More importantly is the process simplification which has been announced. So elaborate measures have been taken. You will be able to also seek clarification if you want. New